Alright, hello, my name is Joash, and this is my Wind Waker HD All Dungeons PB. I'm going to be doing some post-commentary over it, because I figured I'd want to give some commentary over the run, kind of describe, how the run is, and talk about a few of the tricks here, and just kind of give an overview of how everything is. And this will be my Games Done Quick submission, but I also figured it would also work as a good, post-commentary run. So I'll be kind of commentating through this and describing the things that are happening throughout the run and talking about it in general. A little context on this run. This run was done offline, and this was me showcasing it on stream. However, my PB doesn't explain all the tricks here, so I figured again that post commentary would help to cover all that.
How's the sound, by the way?
So the first thing we're going to be doing is called a manual super swim. So at the beginning of each run, we do this trick to skip the intro of the game at Outset Island. And basically, what happens is whenever Link turns around 180 degrees in water, he gets a little bit of speed going backwards. More specifically, he gets -3 speed, and when you have negative speed, Link is going backwards. So we get negative speed for a frame, and then it goes back to normal speed. However, if I keep doing that every single frame in a row, I actually start stacking up that -3 speed. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. So I'm pause buffering to achieve that. And also my PB kind of messes up there, just moving around. But you'll see I'll start pause buffering here, and I'll start slowly gaining speed. And you'll also see Link start to separate a little bit here. And that's how you can kind of tell how much speed you have. And the way you can tell if it's working. So the thing is I have to also pause frame perfectly too. I have to pause the moment that as soon as I can. If I pause any later, I won't gain any speed. But if I try to pause too early, the game won't pause, and then there'll be a small amount of time where the game's unpaused, and I lose a little bit of speed. The way you can tell if you are gaining speed is if you look at the rupee counter on the bottom right. If it's not flashing, then you're gaining speed. But if it does flash, then that means I missed I was a little bit late on the pause. Which if I'm late on the pause, it doesn't really it hardly loses me any speed at all. I just don't gain any speed. So I'm gonna do this until I get to a certain amount of speed. And I want to get to a certain speed to where I can hit target and go into target mode where the camera tries to get behind Link. And but the thing is I'll have so much speed that if I hold up, the camera will be in front of Link, and as it tries to get behind Link, then when it does, Link will turn around, and then it'll just keep over and over trying to get the camera behind Link. So essentially, once I get to that point, then I'm gaining speed just like I was there, just without pause buffering. So I'm having to hold straight up here, and this is just to get me the rest of the speed that I need to get to Dragon Roost Island. And this trick overall saves about 20 minutes over not doing it. So it saves quite a bit of time, and it also makes the run overall more interesting. Because we're starting off with a major trick, and then we because of us doing this trick, it makes a lot of things earlier on in the run much more interesting. I also you notice me going to that wall there. I was doing MSS near the near that wall there. That wall gives me an air refill. So anytime I touch that wall, it refills my air completely. So now we're at Dragon Roost Island early, and I've skipped all of the intro of the game. And because of that, we don't have to do any of the story stuff before. The only thing we'll have to go back and do is Forsaken Fortress 1. But however, we'll have an item later that will help us do it much more quickly than what we would be able to do if we didn't do the manual super swim. Also, you notice that the boat is not there either. So the boat actually doesn't spawn onto the world until after you beat Forsaken Fortress 1. So the boat is just kind of not there. We're just kind of talking to nothing. Alright, so yeah, it's a 502. So and so right here, I'll do a small trick here. So normally you're supposed to go like all around the island, blowing up rocks to get up into that platform right there. But with a few precise jumps here, we can get up here relatively quickly. Like really, during stream, our early game was pretty decent. So I thought, and now we get a little bit of a breather here from the manual Super Slim. So we'll watch a few cutscenes here. So the next like couple of minutes are kind of self-explanatory. We kind of do things a little bit normally here. And this is also a good spot to mention that this is where you can really see where just basic movement is important. It's not just about, you know, getting every trick first try. It's also about just like the basic movement, you know, how you round corners, like how much you roll, like that kind of thing, like small things here and there. And if you really pay attention, that's something that you can notice whenever you look at like basic movement areas such as this. And also for reference, we're playing on the Italian version. Italian is the fastest language for Wind Waker HD. The second fastest is Spanish, but it's only like a few seconds slower. So you could also use Spanish to run on this game. And to change your language, you can just change your language in the Wii U settings. Just change your console language. So basically, what's happening here is we're going to get the delivery bag, and then we're going to take it up to Medley, and then we're going to, you know, take the letter to Kamali. So like I said before, some basic stuff here, but then things are going to get kind of interesting after we do some of this side stuff here. Look, I'm so good at this game. I should no hands. Whoa, I'm controlling it with my mind. Also, you can see me in the top left there. You can see me in the top left there, like kind of messing around, being like, "Oh man, no hands," because I did the run offline. I actually thought about it. I thought about doing that. Head down here. The interesting thing about this movement here is that I have to open up the delivery bag on the gamepad and then equip the letter, and then after I equip the letter, then I'm going to have to close the delivery bag by like tapping anywhere else on the screen. Oh, good job, Joe Ash. I missed. um, so that's like one of those things in the background that you just like you might not notice as a viewer. It's something you have to kind of keep in mind as you're kind of going through this. Yeah, I know, Toad. I know. I'm sorry. Also, hi, Toad. Also, I roll diagonally up those stairs right there because if you roll straight into them, you have a chance to like bonk into them as you're rolling. But if you roll diagonally up the stairs, then you won't bonk on them. So the wind changes direction here, and based on what direction the wind's going, when we throw Medley, she'll go in that direction. But fortunately, the wind actually lines up pretty well, so that when we're done talking to her here, we'll be able to throw her as the wind goes in the direction we want it to. So now she's going to give us the bottle, and then we're going to go into our first dungeon. Ooh. So there's 5 main dungeons in the game, not counting like Ganon's Tower or Forsaken Fortress, but there's 5 main dungeons otherwise. There's Dragon Rouge Cavern, which is what we're about to go into. We have Forbidden Woods, we have Tower of the Gods, and then we have Earth's Temple and Wind Temple. So we're gonna go into Dragon Rouge Cavern now, but we're actually not gonna finish it quite yet. We'll get back into that in a little bit. But if you've been paying attention, you might be wondering, but wait, Strimmer, oh no, you don't have a sword. How are you possibly going to do anything in this dungeon? Well, we're going to take a few notes from Breath of the Wild. If you played Breath of the Wild before, you might remember how you can like take enemies' weapons and use your environment to your advantage. Well, we're going to do something very similar here. Turns out you could complete this entire dungeon without a sword.
Oh, a duel.
So we're going to do some fairly creative things to accomplish that here. Like I said, for the sake of this run, we're not going to complete the entire dungeon, because for the all dungeons category, it is faster to come back later.
You'll get it, Tobito, I believe. Nice, that was decent.
Streamer, oh no. Yeah, also for those that might be watching this video, I am also like streaming this commentary on Twitch, so I might occasionally be talking to chat as well. So first things first, we're gonna take this pot here. I'm gonna toss it to this bokoblin.
Oh yeah, I got good RNG here.
Take his weapon, light up the torches.
When you see the MVP. Oh, I'm sorry, old man.
And we also have that wooden barrier in the way, but just like with the pot, we're gonna take this rock and break it there. Also, while I'm in this dungeon, I'm going to be collecting rupees as well, because I want to buy the sale later. And the sale is actually important for a few small things, but we'll get into that whenever it becomes more relevant. So, interesting thing here. Whenever I blow up this rock, I can roll into it, so I'll be like rolling during the cutscene, so I'll roll like into where the rock was during the cutscene, which puts me a little bit closer to the door.
I think it might be about the same time. It might not matter.
Oh, you're good. Thanks. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Alright, will Fred
Now we have this bokoblin. This is Fred. We call him Fred.
There you go.
So we use that pot to take Fred's weapon. However, Fred every now and then can just attack immediately, which we go for the pot as soon as possible, but every now and then Fred will just knock the pot out of our hands, and sometimes we have to reload the room to do that, which is unfortunately RNG, but that's a little bit rare. It depends on what kind of day Fred's having, I guess. So I'll go over here to the skull again and get the another blue rupee. I want at the very least 19 rupees before the mini boss fight, or at least like before finishing the mini boss fight. So I'll also collect some green rupees here as well. Almost missed that. Oh, good job, Past Joe Ash. And this bokoblin here, this is Frank. Much like Fred, if he's having a bad day, you know, he can just kind of knock you off this ladder here.
Been pretty close to making the cycle, actually, if I didn't make
and we have this lava cycle here with having to wait for the lava to get there. Although in all dungeons that's a good thing, because if I'm making good time and I have to wait for that lava cycle, that's good. I'm making good time. In any percent, if I can beat that lava cycle because I'm not getting rupees. But in all dungeons, that's a lot harder to do. Also, that jump there I did to get over to the other side, that's a roll clip where I'm hitting A and going in a direction to roll like the frame that I'm like as soon as I'm able to after climbing a ledge. A little bit more into roll clips later, because roll clips are actually very useful in this category. Also, even though we don't have the Gossip Stone, we have a cutscene with it there. Like, no matter, like, even if you don't have the Gossip Stone, all the cutscenes with the Gossip Stone are all still there. And fun fact, oh yeah, oh well, actually that proves my point there. Wow. So fun fact about those rats, when you're at low rupees, I guess every now and then if they do hit you, they can actually knock more rupees than you actually had in your inventory. So in that case, it knocked out a couple of extra blue rupees. So in my PV here, I'm actually ahead on money. And I think because of that, yeah, I'm gonna skip that pot. Usually I'll get that pot for its blue rupee. But if something like that happens, I usually just opt to skip it. Because now I have well more than enough rupees. For the time being. I mean, I will be getting, well, hopefully be getting more rupees. At the very end of the dungeon. Like after the mini boss. But for what I can, but for like before that, this is excellent pace for rupees. There's our first combat room without the sword. We're gonna take that stool. We're gonna give him the chair in a typical wrestling match, I guess. We're gonna, of course, take his weapon and then finish off the other two. Oh, nice bonk.
Even with all those small, tiny mistakes here and there, like, this is.
We'll keep heading on over here.
So far, this is pretty good.
So now we're in this Makto Room, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna try to time the pot throw here a little bit more to the left of the lava spew going up, and if I time it right, I can jump over to that other side without grabbing the ledge like I did there, but it is a little bit tricky to get that timing down. Hey Mordai, what's up? And I'm gonna open up the gold warp pot there for later, since I'll be coming back for that. And also another thing about the Magtail from a couple rooms before, I have to actually let him attack me, because otherwise if he doesn't attack me, he just blocks my way and I can't get past him. But it's like really rare for him just not attack. So now this is the mini boss. And of course, as is the theme of this dungeon, take a pot, take the weapon, and have at it.
I was thinking to myself, I missed the pot, didn't I? I couldn't remember.
And whenever I'm doing this fight, I have to like be careful not to hit them from behind, which I kind of mess up here a little bit. But if I hit them from behind, they get knocked down and they're like invulnerable for a few seconds. And for this moblin, I can get like, if I angle it just right, I can get like a few double hits in one swing. Hey, Solaricity. And hopefully, the rupees that I mentioned earlier, the ones I'm getting right now, is from that pearl drop right there. Every now and then, he won't drop that pearl, and then I'd have to get rupees, oh, nice. Then I'd have to get rupees in Windfall. Just some extra rupees, which does waste a little bit of time, but it only wastes like 15 to 20 seconds if I don't get that pearl drop. So I'm definitely, like, in this run, I'm definitely, like, really good on rupees right now. Normally, like, at the very least, I try to have, like, at the very least 39 or 40. The reason I say 39 is there's gonna be, like, 1 rupee we get in Forsaken Fortress. That's guaranteed, no matter what. So I'll equip Grapple Hook here, and when I save warp, since I haven't like beaten any of the intro or anything, or like advanced the story, it's actually going to take me all the way back to Outset. So you might be wondering, why did we get the Grapple Hook? Doesn't that let you swing on things and that useless? Well, as you just saw there, a first-person item such as the Grapple Hook lets us gain speed. And lets us also do super swims. So to explain it a little bit more in detail, this is a trick known as item sliding.
That was a pretty good entrance.
And so basically what item sliding is I take the first person item out, and I'll hold in any direction. Like in that case, I held forward, and then I paused and then held slightly down, and because of that, like the way it does math for like taking down your speed is actually like messed up, and instead it lets you gain speed. And if you charge it up long enough, you can actually like, charge up enough speed to crash the game. So you can pretty much get as much speed as you want with item sliding. It is incredibly broken. Oh, thanks, Mordai. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And so, oh goodness, yeah. Once we get items line, there's so much to explain. Um, so I super swam to that sub, and I got caught by the those moblins. If any moblin that has a lantern, whenever they see you and you don't have a sword, they are programmed to throw you in jail. And those are the ones that are primarily in Forsaken Fortress, but fortunately they're also in that sub, so we can go into Forsaken Fortress 1. So now I got those 2 red rupees, and you might be wondering why I watched the Gossip Stone cutscene, even though like all the Gossip Stone cutscenes are all there. Like, what was the point of watching that? So the reason why I triggered that was the reason I triggered that was to actually change a mini game in the pirate ship. So at the beginning of the game, whenever you go into the pirate ship, it has minigame 1 on there, and that's a minigame that gives you the spoils bag. Well, watching that cutscene actually changes it from minigame 1 to minigame 2, because normally in the game you watch that cutscene after you like right after you do the first minigame. So now whenever I go to the pirate ship, it'll do the second minigame that'll give bombs. And then there I grappled the bokoblin to skip a cutscene of the spikes raising up.
So at this point, I'm thinking to myself, okay.
And fun fact about that is, if I do that, then he actually will never see me, even though I like will stand in front of him. So we get the sword. We finish Forsaken Fortress 1.
I'm like, okay.
Now you might also be wondering, okay, well, why didn't we just swim straight to Forsaken Fortress? Like, why did we have to get caught?
Actually, while this
The reason we had to get caught was, you might have also been noticing I've been calling it Forsaken Fortress 1. So there's actually 2 different maps of Forsaken Fortress. Oh, bypass Joash. There's two maps of Forsaken Fortress. The map that you go to first, where you're like sneaking around the moblins, like trying to get past them. The one where I got thrown in jail with. That one is actually on its own separate map. And then the one you go to later that has Phantom Ganon and okay, nice. Nice, Josh. I don't know what I'm doing there, but anyways, the one you go to later, where it has like Phantom Ganon and you get the hammer and you actually fight the Helmerich boss. That's actually on the regular map. If I swim straight to Forsaken Fortress, I would be going to that map instead. So I go into the sub to get caught to go into Forsaken Fortress 1. And then the one on the map is what's called Forsaken Fortress 2.
That was not precise movement.
Did I miss anything? I think I explained like a lot of things. Just in rapid succession there. Oh, and now we get our boat back. So now we're in like the next section of the game. So if you remember when I save warped from Dragon Rouge's Cavern after getting the grapple hook, I got but when I save warped, I spawned at Outset instead of at the beginning of the dungeon. Well, now that I've advanced this part of the story, I'm always going to be spawning at Windfall until I enter the boat. And whenever I enter the boat is when the save flags are going to be fixed, and then I'll be spawning like wherever I'm actually at. But I'm going to be taking a little bit of advantage of spawning at Windfall consistently. Because, well, I'll get to that when I get to that. But basically, like, the fact that I can do that is actually very useful. It makes it makes some things a little bit easier, and 2, like, it gets me off certain islands faster, just in general. Welcome back, old man. Also, fun fact: when the boat says Ganondorf there, he says Ganondorf in Italian and Spanish, but in English he says Ganon. I don't know why, but he does. There's your fun trivia for the day. So, I got rupees to go buy the sail. And you might be wondering, well, why do we need the sail if we can just super swim everywhere with all this immense speed? Well, there's a couple of reasons why we actually need the sail. So for one, there are actually a couple of spots where we will have to sail. And you'll see why later when we get to them. But the other reason is that if you get bombs but don't get a sail. For some reason, like whenever you get near the boat, he actually soft locks you and starts repeating like the same text over and over and over again. And so we actually need to get sail in order to prevent that from happening. I think it's because like the story flags get all like out of whack and game gets confused and all that nonsense. So, and also the reason we're getting the Tingle bottle, it's not to write messages to Miiverse, rest in peace Miiverse, but for some reason on the HD version, Nintendo forces you to go rescue Tingle before you go buy the sale. I think it was just to show off their Miiverse mechanic, but again, rest in peace. Hey, Maniac. Poor Tingle bottle.
Go watch it all the way through just to have it fail somewhere.
No more finding bottles on the shores.
Stay tuned.
Now I'll head straight to Zunori to buy the sale. Like 10 extra rupees because of that rat.
That'd be a wonderful meme though.
Alright.
Pretend it's an offline run and then suddenly like game crashes and I'm like.
So now once I've done that, I'm going to do another super swim. We're going to go to Great Fish. Whee! Okay.
That would be.
So the thing about Great Fish, whenever you go to Great Fish for the first time, it activates what's called Endless Night. And so it's a part of the story where, you know, it's continually nighttime, it never turns day, and it's always raining. This is for getting Neru's Pearl later. So we're actually setting this up right now. And this will also allow us to go to the pirate ship to get bombs. Also, one thing important to know about super swimming, in order for me to super swim off an island, I have to do it from a shore. So I have to like kind of ease myself into the water without like falling from like a sharp decline. Because whenever you're item sliding and you hit a sharp decline, you lose all your speed. So like on this island, for example, there's like barely anywhere you can super swim off of because everywhere on this island is a sharp decline except for one spot. But that one spot's like really hard to maneuver with. So instead, we're going to take advantage of the messed up save flags and just spawn directly back on Windfall. Oh, internet. Oh, I don't know what that jump was. I apologize. Strimmer, you're splashing. No, okay. But anyways, so it takes us back to Windfall. And now we're gonna go and get our bombs at the pirate ship. And instead of learning the password from watching the cutscene in the bomb shop, we're gonna do what's called a roll clip here, and we're going to do a few special move in a very special way to get behind this door. And the loading zone, the door actually has a loading zone behind it. So as long as you can get behind the door, you'll be able to get in. And of course, normally that door is protected by the password, which we don't have. So basically, what a roll clip is, what you saw me do to clip into the pirate ship.
Very clean.
To explain it again, a roll clip is when you roll the frame that you're able to move from after climbing up. And if I'm like if I climb up and I'm a little bit into the wall, then the game will actually push me outside that wall. So I have one frame to actually roll into the wall before it pushes me back. So that's what I did there in order to get into the pirate ship. And I'm going to do that a couple of times here and there throughout the run. Oh, shut up, Toad. Aha. That's funny, though.
Alright, so, remember how I've been saying that I think sub 2 on this split is possible for a gold?
Alright. So, bombs are very useful in this run.
Well, short answer is...
And they're going to be immediately useful, like, right here and now. Coming up on this next, part of the run.
That's also a sub 30. That's sub 30 bombs. Too.
A gold.
I'm like, okay.
That's a really good gold, also. It's probably actually going to be a while before I ever beat that gold again.
Like, I know what's gonna happen, yeah.
That's definitely one of my best golds.
I was 100% focused on the run this time.
Alright, well, you know what? This game's too easy, y'all. So I'm just gonna turn on hero mode. Give myself an actual challenge. No, game's too easy.
This is it.
Also, here the boat is actually catching up on some of that story dialogue. So here, if I got the bombs and didn't get the sail, then I would actually be stuck here. And I wouldn't be able to advance at all.
On Mount Pausa. I went to the next level. Oh, and then that happened.
Oh no. Oh no, Strimmer. Oh no. What are you doing, Strimmer? Strimmer, no. No, you're gonna die, Strimmer. Oh no. Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Okay, well, that was not intentional. That was a slip up, which happens every now and then. Sometimes I clip through that wall.
Because like
That happens every now and then, but
can't really see where you're going. That wasn't really the issue.
what was intentional though was me damaging down to a heart there, which is why I needed hero mode on.
Yeehaw, partner, let's go.
So I'm gonna super swim over to Forest Haven now, and we're going to do our first major cutscene skip. I think it's like one of the only cutscene skips in the run, as far as I can remember. Is it? I think it is. Yeah. This is the big cutscene skip. In any case. So, long story short, we're basically going to die as the cutscene starts, and whenever the cutscene actually starts and I'm dead, then I'm going to die before the cutscene like has a chance to even like really go through. But since the cutscene starts, it assumes that I'll finish, and so it'll just advance it as if I watched the entire cutscene.
Alrighty.
No, gotta stay hydrated, old man. So I'll bring the chews down, get hit one more time, and stun the chews with the bomb. Then I'll leave one alive.
This chew is in a really awkward spot.
And then on a certain frame, I'll slash the bomb, and then because I did that, I'll die in the cutscene.
That was frame 1.
And then it'll consider the cutscene watched. So that trick is frame perfect. However, the setup that is used for that actually makes it a 4-frame trick. So depending on what the chew looks like, depends on like how I swing the sword. So like for example, if the chew is in one position, I'll maybe like hold to Link's right and then hit B, and that'll do one sword slash. And on like a different frame, for example, I'll maybe hold behind Link and hit B, and that will make Link swing his sword differently, hitting the bomb on a different frame. So essentially, with this genius setup, which was found by Gymnast, basically we make a 1-frame trick into a 4-frame trick.
I mean, oh no, am I going to get bulb skip?
And so as you can see, the cutscene is over. It assumes we watched it.
That bulb was like
Go up the bulbs. Now I'll actually be able to skip one here near the end.
Link Light wants to go all around it.
So if I position myself carefully here, I can touch the very tip of that collision there and land on the branch. Yeah, this is my PB.
So I would say, despite at this point,
Now we're on to the second dungeon.
despite a few like minor
And unlike Rouge's Cavern, I'm actually going to go finish this dungeon.
So now it's time to go face my ultimate foe.
So in order to get over to the other side here, of course I'm going to do more item sliding. We can see just how useful item sliding is.
Pretty decent jump there.
As I can use a sword slash to carry all my speed over to the other side. And so also now that I have bombs early in this dungeon, because you're not actually supposed to have bombs in this dungeon, but since we do, we can break all these flowers on the doors really easily. If you get close to these doors with the flowers, the flower will actually close, and then it like opens up if you get a little bit further back from it. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to place a bomb close to the flower, and then I'm going to place another one a little bit further away, and then chain the bomb explosions together so that it hits the flower a lot faster while it's open.
You might also notice that I pull grapple as I'm going through the doors.
More item sliding parkour here. Also, a little bit of a small optimization here. I can pull out an item as I'm opening the door, so I'm pulling out the grapple hook so I can pull it out just very slightly faster whenever I'm like actually using it.
I mean, it's not that big of a difference, but it can definitely add up the more you grapple in that manner.
I'm gonna do another bomb chain here.
I can pull grapple out and open the door before it like pulls.
And sometimes you'll notice that I don't do that for every door. And that's because, like, in some circumstances, it is actually faster just to use one bomb.
It's the same concept as.
And also, because I'm still in hero mode, I don't want to take too much damage, otherwise I'll probably die.
I think I pulled it off.
One bomb there.
You kind of have to time it because it takes a moment for the door to...
And I can pull a bomb as I open up that door there, and that prevents Link from looking back at the thorns growing behind him. Because normally if a door bars behind Link, or in that case the vines or whatever, he'll look back at the door for like a second and then look forward, but that prevents him from looking back, which saves like a second. Get that time save.
I'm like, okay, let's not get the fairy this time.
And so here I'm going to do an item slide into the wall. I'll clip through the wall, and I'll be out of bounds, and then I'll leaf over to the other side of the boss door, and this skips the boss key of Forbidden Woods. You might also notice we didn't get the boomerang either. We didn't get the dungeon item. How are we going to beat this boss without the boomerang? Well, you see our item here, the grapple hook, not only is it so broken we can gain a bunch of speed, but it can also kill this boss. Now this boss is is pretty finicky with the grapple. I basically have to break all of the tentacles connected to the ceiling with the grapple hook, and I have to do it pretty fast, otherwise they start regrowing. But if you do it just right and you aim at the right spots, which sometimes is easier said than done because some of the hitboxes are a little bit wonky. But if you do it just right, you can get it in plenty of time. And this skips getting boomerang just in general, because otherwise if we got boomerang, we would only use it for 2 spots. We would use it for this boss and for one other thing later, and that's it. So it's not worth going out of our way to get boomerang. Yeah, and you can kind of see how finicky the strings are a little bit. And we can do just enough damage to the boss rather, that we can just defeat it on the first phase. And that is one dungeon done so far.
You know what it's time for, though.
We're done with our first dungeon.
You know what it's time for, though.
We're almost done with another dungeon.
What's it time for, chat? What's it time for? Yes, get him ready. Get them ready.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the hardest parts of the run right there. But once you get past this part of the run, then the rest of the run is not too terribly bad at all. And there are backups in case like some stuff like if I miss some stuff earlier, like missing the cutscene skip, if I miss some stuff, there are good backups for like getting back on track.
Where I lost a couple of seconds to my gold. I thought that was a real because like during the run I was.
We also get this very nice, rewarding cutscene of the Korok singing.
But I mean, regardless, though, that was a really good Forbidden Woods. I'm very happy with that Forbidden Woods.
This is where chat likes to post the Oz. Oh. I don't know if I have game volume up enough to hear it, but you enjoy me jamming out in the background. Right past Joash over there jamming out.
At this point in the run, also, I'm a little bit relieved because I'm past a lot of the stuff I usually fail in early game, like some of the hardest stuff. This one, I'm like, okay, I'm staying calm.
All right, so before I save warp off of Forest Haven and go back to Windfall, I'm going to grab a little bit of magic here, so I'll have full magic and be sure that I don't run out. And then I'll turn off hero mode now. No, the game's too hard. Now we gotta make it easy again. No, but that's the only use for hero mode, at least in this category. So there's like no reason to keep it on for the rest of the run.
It's really hard.
Also, you will notice that whenever I'm approaching major islands like Dragon Rouge Cavern or like Forest Haven, you will notice I'm like kind of like going back and forth before getting too close to the island. If I approach the island too fast, what will happen is that I'll be within the island's range while it's loading. And if I'm in the range while it's loading, it actually unloads the water and then reloads it back in. So it actually kills all of my speed right outside the island. So it always looks kind of embarrassing whenever you just lose all your speed like right outside the island. And you either have to take a little bit of time to manual swim to get over there, or just like load your save back up and do the super swim again. So now we're back at Dragon Rouge Cavern. So the reason I left earlier and decided to come back is because I actually need the leaf to do the boss key skip here. I could go and get the boss key and then beat the dungeon without sword, but for this category, it's faster to do the boss key skip.
I messed up the roll clip there.
I'm gonna do another roll clip here. Go through the wall and go around and go into the loading zone.
I will admit, I got a little bit scared when getting up to this trick here, because I know I've been failing it a lot. I'm thinking that it could happen again. I got you, Chef Bird. Welcome back, though. Welcome back.
So now we're on to this very exciting boss. It's basically just a big big cycle boss. Nothing too much going on here, other than just swinging on the tail. Although fun fact about this boss, whenever I get to this part coming up here when the rock falls from the ceiling and hits Goma. So whenever this is happening, I actually have to look away from Goma, because if I look at Goma, the game lags. Because there's just too many things on the screen, I guess. But what's funny about this is that is not the case on the GameCube version. It does not lag on the GameCube version. You'd think it'd be the other way around, but evidently not. And usually and normally I try to get behind Goma so that when I swing, I'll be right in front of her for this next phase coming up. I don't know if I do it in this run though. Let's see. Ow. I do have to be careful of falling rocks there.
That lost me a few.
Yeah, the particles. Yeah, some of the particles make the game lag. The particles that they added on HD.
Spicy.
Evidently, it's too much for the Wii U. Would ever do an OOT speedrun or maybe TP or yeah, I'm actually thinking about doing OOT at some point because OOT looks really fun.
I'm not.
If I do Twilight Princess, I'll probably do HD because I've actually learned a little bit of the Twilight Princess HD speedrun, which I think I will go back to it at some point.
No cheating.
Skyward Sword. I'll probably do that at some point. Although I'd probably have to buy a Japanese version to do Skyward Sword. Star Wars. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in doing those games. Especially OOT. Skyward Sword is actually looking a lot more appealing now because it, like, just the other day, like, just a couple of days ago, it got, like, a 30-minute time save, and they got a new route now. Now Skyward Sword's, like, an hour and a half long for 80%. And it's crazy. Skyward Sword is nuts. So many things going on in Skyward Sword. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in doing runs of those. Slowly do some of the other Zelda games. Spirit Tracks.
Pending runs. Oh man, Toad, the big brain.
And I also did promise I would come back to Link's Awakening on the Switch, which I might do that next, but we'll see. In any case, we have also beaten our second dungeon, which was the first dungeon. Oh yeah, definitely.
What are some more guesses? I'm kind of curious. What are some more guesses?
The Spirit Tracks glitch bounty. Is there actually a bounty for that? I'm not surprised, considering how not broken that game is.
Lost the run to RNG.
Also, cool thing about watching these cutscenes while Endless Night is going on is we get the rain in the background, so we get kind of a different look at these cutscenes. I think my favorite cutscene in Endless Night is the one where you first see the boat after beating Forsaken Fortress 1. You know, where you're like talking to the boat under like the little cove. I don't know. I think that cutscene looks really cool, like in the rain. You know, it almost fits better than the actual cutscene. It looks so good. If you want to see what that cutscene looks like, the tasks of the original Wind Waker, like the one made a few years ago, it has that as it actually watches that cutscene in Endless Night. Alright, so now that I have Jin's Pearl and Farrah's Pearl, now I'm gonna go place some. Now I'm gonna go start placing them in order to get ready for Tower of the Gods. So I'll go over here. Also, super swimming during Endless Night is pretty difficult. Sometimes you have to rely on lightning striking so you can actually see where you're going. The cutscene right after beating Forsaken Fortress 1 when you first meet the boat in that little like cove at Windfall. And also, like, save warping off of these triangle isles is also another huge advantage with the broken save warp flags. So I can just get straight off the island and go back to Windfall where I can conveniently super swim off of. Now I'll head to Outset. I'm gonna head to Outset, and it's gonna start this cutscene right here. And then, so basically watching this cutscene brings the boat to Outset, so now that the boat's in Outset, keep that in mind for later. Now that the boat's at Outset, I'm now going to leave Outset and go place Din's Pearl on that triangle isle. This super swim is also kind of difficult. kind of hard to see where you're going in the island. And the triangle islands are also like really small. You can use the Cyclos tornado to kind of determine where it is.
So lightning helped me both times there. Otherwise, I would have been going far too right.
And so instead of save warping off this island, I'm going to do what's called an island hop. One thing I forgot to mention about item slides is that when I hit target, it actually flings you to the left, and depending on like how much speed you build, depends on how far you go when you hit target. So there, I charge up a little bit of speed to get myself out of bounds, and that'll void me out. And when that voids me out, it almost treats it as if I drowned. So it puts me in the boat, and since the boat's at outset, we end up at outset. So now the save warp flags are fixed. Anytime I save and quit the game, I won't end up at Windfall anymore. I mean, unless I'm at Windfall, but now saving and quitting is normal. Now that we're in the boat. I do want to be careful when doing that island hop though, because if I charge up too much speed, I can't just like charge up like a whole lot of extra speed just to like be sure I void out. Because if I charge up too much, then the game will crash. If I charge up too much speed. You kind of have to be a little bit careful with that, but fortunately the visual cue for that and for the way I do it's 100% consistent.
Imagine having MVP. Oh no.
And even if I'm like short on that jump too, then I can just drown, and that only wastes like a few extra seconds. Then we have all the pearls. So we'll go and place this pearl, and then we'll be able to go into Tower of the Gods, our third dungeon.
So after a long streak of saving time, I lost a few seconds here, but it's okay. It's okay because this is still a good run. It's still pretty good. Anyone fancy you in a duel? Anybody willing to take up that offer? Duel, old man.
Okay.
Extreme elements points.
Fun fact, you see Pastorash drinking water there? I was just doing that. Whoa. Great minds think alike.
Coming in with confidence because he wins the match.
Like a bit anyways. I'm gonna jump into the water and save warp here because it's faster to do that as opposed to sailing around the island. Because I actually can't change the wind direction because I don't have Wind's Requiem. And I actually won't be getting Wind's Requiem in this run. It's not necessary. Oh, internet. Internet, please. Internet. Internet. Internet, what are you doing? Uh-oh. Oh no. Okay. Okay, sorry about that.
You were, yeah.
Internet, no. Okay, well, I don't think you missed that much. Actually, you didn't really miss anything. I just did the same super swim that I did. The same super swim I did to get to the Dense Pearl Triangle Island, I just did there.
Azer sees Toad's confidence and is like, no, I'm a one.
I think it's because I'm playing the YouTube video while streaming. Excuse me, internet, can you not?
Duel Joash.
I
accept. Except I don't know why it's not coming up. You dare duel?
This is what we call the bathroom break cutscene because there's no text boxes, so you have like a minute to like
Toad's gonna duel me.
Stand up, stretch your legs,
Toad.
in a marathon, read a donation, something, I don't know.
Toad beat me. Yeah, easy peasy.
Get that cardio workout, something, I don't know. Be productive in this late minute, I suppose. Old man. You're late, old man.
What we got here? We got
Oh, and fun fact about this cutscene is actually on its own map as well.
Wait, okay, yeah, I see what happened.
Because all the triangle isles are much closer together on this map.
I'm trying to go to a glitchless one.
Excuse me. And, yeah, actually, I think that's about it. The islands are close together.
Alright. Legis, I accept your duel. Dadgummit, I can't win anything. Oh, old man.
So,
actual points.
somewhat conveniently here, the wind is going east and we're going north. So we can kind of get a little wind in our sails to get to Tower of the Gods.
See, guys, it's not rigged for my benefit. In fact, it's apparently rigged to go against me. My own stream elements. Dueling point leaderboard. Yeah, face the master over there. Just face Toad.
Alright, so for Tower of the Gods, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do floor 1 skip. We're just going to skip this floor. Normally you have to put the statues on each side of the floor from different rooms in order to make the waterfall disappear. But we can do a what's called a ledge clip here. Some kind of similar to a roll clip, that we don't actually need to time the A press. So there the bomb actually pushes me into the wall. And it clips me out of bounds and gets me to the other side. Fun fact about floor 1 skip. Floor 1 skip is so broken that we can even do a different version of it in glitchless. So even glitchless does floor 1 skip. It does a different method of doing it that's not, going out of bounds and not a glitch.
Toad goes for a more direct approach though against ledges. Oh dang. Oh no. Oh no, Ledges, no.
So, oh yeah, I tried to do an item slide without pause buffering there while I'm waiting for the for the platform to go up. If I do end up getting it out there, it's like very slightly faster. So the unfortunate thing about Tower of the Gods is that there's not really any way to sequence break through it and skip a bunch of stuff, so we kind of have to go through everything as intended. However, what is cool about it is that as we go through it, we do have a lot of really cool movement techniques as we progress through it. So even though we're not able to skip like hardly anything in the dungeon, we can still do a lot of cool things to make it look flashy.
Right, I love it. This is exciting. You don't fight against peasants? Oh man. Those are some fighting words right there. Those are some fighting words.
I think past Josh's voice got louder. I don't have my headphones on, and I kind of heard him in the headphones a little bit ago.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm saying in the past, but
everything related to stream elements has all been.
So here we'll get command melody. We need command melody here to open up the next door, but we'll also use command melody later to take control of Medley and Makar for a couple of things.
You pulled ahead again. Nice.
We don't actually use command melody in this dungeon though, but we will use it later. So it's not useful immediately, but it will be useful later.
Interesting.
Get some magic here. A very conveniently placed magic drop. So our first use of skipping the command melody in this dungeon, I'm going to do a specific setup here, and we're going to do some more parkour. Unfortunately, I can't item slide while holding a statue, so you kind of have to get a little bit creative here. I'm gonna line myself to the edge of the room and do a few side hops and go on the other side of the pillars here.
Why is 20,000
and go through the door. Normally, you're supposed to like stand on the button to spawn a bridge, and then let the statue cross the bridge.
I don't know, I can probably check it though.
Nice bonk.
Let's see. Maybe I can change it.
Alright, so this fight is interesting in that you'll see me hit the armor a little bit, and then I'll break the armor from behind, and then I'll hit him. I'll pretty much take down the Dark Nut in one hit. So the way that the Dark Nut works is interesting because his armor health is actually his main health, but if you break the armor without like hitting him in the back, it resets his health to full. But if you hit the armor a little bit and then break it from the back, he still retains the health that he had before the armor broke. So I can attack his armor a little bit and then use the parry command to break it from behind and then hit him in one hit to finish him off. Yes, I am Ice. Commentary Inception.
Oh, I'm Grandpa. Oh, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I am sitting in an old man chair, I guess. I don't know. I am sitting in a recliner.
Also, what's up, Ice?
Oh wait, you're talking about? Oh, you're actually talking.
That's
about
2 out of the 3 statues that we need to get to the boss.
I got the boomer. Oh no.
I'll do an item slide to this chest here to get a key. And I can like jump over the edge to spawn at the door. However, I can save a couple of seconds here by doing this item slide, which unfortunately I fail here, but you can end up like near the door with an item slide. But I think it's because I slid off the chest that my angle was a little bit off. And here you kind of have to hope that the keys don't knock you off the ladder. Which, I mean, is only a small time loss if that ends up happening. Keys or, they can sometimes be unforgiving. But fortunately, it's only a small time loss if they do end up attacking you on the ladder.
Their fine sorcery is about to be, like, revealed here.
And so, once again, skipping the command melody by just item sliding through the laser, because I'm going fast enough to pass by it. I'll bring the statue out. And I'll statue down there. Nowadays, we actually do an item slide to go to the other side instead of using the leaf, which actually saves a little bit of magic. So I'll counter the weight of the other statue on the other side. So that statue over there to keep it lowered. And the keys, as you can see, again, the keys can be very rude.
Okay.
And just do whatever they want.
Bump you off the ledge, why don't
Yeah, every now and then when I'm carrying something, I'll do a few side hops if it's like a somewhat long distance. Because side hopping is slightly faster than just running.
So bad, dude. They're so bad. I hate them so
much. Now we can head on to the path to the boss.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
so this is one of 2 dungeons that we won't be doing a boss key skip for. But the thing about this dungeon is that nice side hop. The thing about this dungeon is that you actually can't get to the boss door without getting the boss key. Like you actually just can't even get to the room without it. Because the door because the door over here doesn't unlock until I open this chest and defeat the Armoses that spawn because I opened the chest. So even if we had a boss key skip, then we wouldn't even really use it because we have boss key anyways. There is a boss key skip for it in on the GameCube version, and the only time it's useful is randomizer if you just happen to not have the boss key at this point. I don't know. I'm actually not sure if we have a boss key skip for this. I'm sure there probably is one, but I mean it's not necessary because we have boss key anyways.
Omega debated. Alright, so other than the keys, decent Tower of the Gods. So now,
No, I'm not sure. Soup. That could be possible.
Favorite boss in all of video.
Alright, so here we have my least favorite boss in the run, just because of kind of how sporadic he is. Mostly just like irritating to get like really fast. At worst, you're probably gonna lose like 30 seconds to a minute, really. But like trying to do it like as fast as possible can be pretty tricky because of just how sporadic the sporadic Godon's movement is.
Hopefully the class goes well whenever it does start.
Okay, so here I use gyro, which basically allows me to aim the bow with the gamepad controller.
And I can't hit the eye.
Which I think we've seen me do a lot with just aiming in general. But I use it there especially to hit the hands really fast. You can just target the hands to hit them, but I do it without targeting so that I can quickly aim towards them without having to find them while targeting. Because sometimes they're in positions where I can't target them, and if in some cases if I don't target them, then it makes it a little bit more simple. Which, granted, at the same time, that also does make it a little bit trickier because it makes those shots a little bit harder. But it's definitely worth it just to not target the hands. It does make it a little bit easier in a way. I don't know, it's hard to explain. I also wasted my last arrow so that he would just blow his nose and give me snot arrows. I don't know why I'm targeting here.
With where the hands were.
Wow, Scrimmer judging his past self.
Kind of upset about that. This fight.
I think I was targeting there just because of how close he was to me. I think if Godon's like really close to you, then it's okay to target. Like it's circumstantial.
This was utter garbage.
Yes, it is me. Hello, hello, Alyssa.
Honestly, it probably would have been. It would have been very close to Master Sword world record. Like I was before this fight, like before the split, I was on pace for Master Sword world record. I was on pace for it.
Alrighty, so that is 3 out of the 5 dungeons done now. We're making headway here.
Keys and aiming, best way to lose a split. Yep, pretty much. Pretty much.
Oh, happy birthday, by the way. Yeah, no Hyrule 1 skip in this category.
That was a big yikes.
Maybe someday, though. Maybe someday we'll be able to skip Hyrule 1 in all dungeons. So on that subject, actually, on the subject of Hyrule 1 skip, it's kind of complicated to explain, which, I mean, some of this explanation is not needed for the sake of this category, but long story short, there's actually a reason we do Tower of the Gods at this point and not later, because we could actually do some dungeons later, technically, but the problem is that the way this game works is that the first half of the game, all the cutscenes in the first half of the game are in something called Animation Set 1, and then all the cutscenes on the second half of the game are in Animation Set 2. They've like divided it up into 2 different sets, and the cutscenes pull from like the same numbers or whatever, but just in different animation sets. So basically, if you're in Animation Set 1, for example, and you watch a cutscene later in the run without swapping over the swapping it over to the second animation set, then the cutscene will actually crash because it's in the wrong animation set and getting the wrong animations. And the cutscene right before you fight Helmerich is the cutscene that moves it from animation set 1 to animation set 2. So if we moved it to animation set too early, then we wouldn't be able to finish Tower of the Gods and go into the portal and watch certain cutscenes in early game because the game would crash. I'm not sure, Soup. Not sure how that would work. Cause like dying in a warp is like I don't know, it's different, I think, depending on how you do it. Because I think some stuff like that has been tested and floating zones similar to that, and it hasn't worked out.
Slow recovery back to first. Or maybe not slow. Maybe he'll pull a quick one. Catch up real quick. See. The epic battle between Toad and Ledges continues. You improved your summon best by 3.5 minutes yesterday. Let's go, Toad. That's awesome.
Ad Mummy is the area where the cutscene of Tower of the Gods Rising is. It's that special map on the. It's that special map for that cutscene. So here I'm actually not going to go through the front entrance. I'm instead going to clip into the back and go through this loading zone instead. The reason I do that is that if I go through the front door, it plays a really long cutscene of the camera painting around the area. And it's actually faster just to go through the back entrance and not have that cutscene play. Oh yeah, and the bell map too.
And there we go. 11140 Master Sword. Not a Master Sword PB. Probably behind by about 26.
And now we have the Master Sword.
But
so the Master Sword is kind of important for later. The Master Sword allows us to defeat Phantom Ganon, which is actually not possible with the Hero Sword. And we need to defeat Phantom Ganon a couple of times throughout the run.
17. Ooh, nice. Yeah, you're gonna get sub 450 soon. For sure.
Oh yeah, also we skipped the puzzle by doing an item slide clip. You know, the usual.
Seems like you're getting sub 5 pretty consistently now. That's awesome. Alright. So now here's another part of the run that I was really scared about. Because yesterday I had a run where I lost 2 minutes of this split to just about everything you can think of. And overall I just have not been as consistent with this split.
Soup.
No. Oh no. Oh really? Dang. Yeah, you're gonna get that very soon. You'll get it very soon.
So now that we have the Master Sword, we're gonna head out. Now we're getting to the big trick coming up here. The big trick. But before we do that, instead of fighting all these enemies, you know, why fight when you can just item slide and roll clip, which is exactly what we're gonna do here.
I targeted the
maybe. Okay, just kidding. So I'm gonna go over here. Actually, just getting not a roll clip, but a ledge clip. Let the bomb push me out of bounds here. Jump over here. And you'll notice, like, you see me, like, putting away the leaf and pulling it back out again. That's leaf pumping, and leaf pumping keeps me level, because otherwise if I'm just holding the leaf and gliding with it, I'm falling as I'm doing it, like, slowly falling. But if I keep pulling it out like that, then I actually maintain my height slightly, which gives me enough, which lets me keep my height to get to the loading zone. And so here for barrier skip, now we get to do the biggest trick in this game, barrier skip. So you saw there, I pulled out the Wind Waker, like, after I got hit by the barrier and propelled back, I pulled out Wind Waker. And I pulled out Wind Waker on the same frame that I'm supposed to get knocked back, and that cancels the knockback, so I can stand like on the wall of the barrier. And then with a very precise angle, I can item slide into this like little corner into the barrier because the way the barrier shaped is that it's like a cylinder, but it's not perfectly round. It's like it's got ridges all around it, kind of like an octagon kind of shape. And one of those corners just happens to be on the bridge, and so we clip through that little corner there with a very precise angle, and that's how we do barrier skip in the HD version.
I pulled out the bomb there so I could pull out.
And now to skip the 4 trials here,
Maintain my speed.
we're going to do another ledge clip.
Also, I failed trial skip again. Oh
I said we're going to do another ledge clip.
And then this happened. Oh yeah, this happened.
Oh yeah, it looks like the Bokoblin saw me.
Bokoblin like gets too close, then you just keep targeting him. And there's like no.
Ask Joash, what are you doing? Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, if that ends up messing up, it doesn't waste too much time. Like messing this up, like doesn't lose too much time.
Oh well.
It's not like detrimental. It doesn't like it doesn't fail the run to do so. Anyway, I do a ledge clip there to go out of bounds, and then I'll just glide backwards into the loading zone here. So I skip the trials. And so there's actually a couple of things I want to do in Ganon's Tower, but I'm actually going to make 2 visits. So right now I'm going to actually leave.
I practiced this whole split before.
And by leaving, I'm going to go in here and going to hit these crystals in order.
Boom, boom, got it.
Nice.
Let's go.
So this is the second spot where you would normally use the boomerang because the game wants you to use the boomerang there. However, we can use gyro and aim the bow at all 4 of them really quickly. If we go fast enough, we can just activate the crystals before they shut off. And opening this portal gives us access like from the outside world to Ganon's Tower like easily, so that we can come back here after we beat all the dungeons to beat the game. However, the portal spawns after you beat FF2, so we'll have the portal later. That essentially skips the entirety of the Triforce quest, the whole quest where you're collecting Triforce shards and collecting Triforce charts, like that whole side quest where you're finding the Triforce. We skip all of that, so we save like a huge deal of time just by opening that portal, so we don't have to do the Triforce quest.
I'm sure you do.
Here we'll defeat Phantom Ganon to get the hammer. We use the hammer quite a lot in the run. Mostly, like, because we have the hammer, we can use it in a few places to do things a little bit quicker. However, there is only one specific spot in this entire run where it's actually required to have it. And we'll get to what that spot is when we get to it. But if we could take out that one spot and find a way to skip it, then I'm pretty sure we wouldn't even need hammer for all dungeons. Alright, Ledges. Thanks for stopping by. But, since we do have the hammer, I can use it for a couple of things here and there as well to make things a little bit faster. But once again, Forsaken Fortress is an item sliding playground.
Getting that random clip right here. So I just decided to play it safe. I was like, you know what, I don't care. I'm playing this one safe.
Oh, I think I was trying to be careful there not to clip, which I think in any kind of marathon setting I would actually try to be really careful there.
Without like that random chance of.
And being careful like I did there in my PB, it like will guarantee I don't clip out and be far away from Forsaken Fortress.
It's not RNG, but it's definitely like you won't be able to tell if you'll clip or not. I forgot about that one.
Very funny, Pass Josh. Very funny. I don't know what you're laughing at, but. Alright, so this is what I was mentioning before. This is the cutscene where we go from animation set 1 to animation set 2. So now we can't watch any of the cutscenes from the first half of the game. So that's why we went ahead and beat all the all the dungeons from Animation Set 1 right away. So now we're done with all the early game stuff. So basically, basically from here on out, this is all we're gonna be doing a bunch of setup to get ready for Earth Temple and Wind Temple, and it requires a lot of different steps. So first off, of course, we're gonna go through here and um go through some story to be able to get into Earth Temple and Wind Temple, because entering into both those dungeons requires like some specific story elements to be complete. And so we're gonna spend a decent amount of time like getting all of that set up.
Yes, the sub gives you power.
Also, you might have noticed that one of the pirates is missing, just straight up invisible. That's because for some reason this one pirate doesn't spawn on the map until you go through a certain part on Outset. But since we skipped all of Outset, he's not there. He's invisible. That pirate's name is Gonzo. So, as the old joke goes, Gonzo is Gonzo. I think I'm funny. Okay, anyways. And you can really see it here when he is carrying Ariel out. So instead, it looks like Ariel's just flying backwards off into the distance. Goodbye, sister. He's not funny. No, I'm not. I'm not funny.
Yes, very power.
Okie dokie. So onto the Helmerich Fight, which you know what? While this fight is fun and all, we're just going to we're going to be the speedrunners that we are, and we're just gonna skip it. So to skip this fight, we're gonna item slide up this ramp. Quite convenient, really, because this ramp is really long. We're gonna get behind Helmerich here. I'm gonna climb up here, and if I hold down, it will just automatically clip me into the ground here. Then I'm gonna crawl under here, get onto the railing, go around the boss room, and then I'll jump on the other side of these spikes here, and that essentially just skips the boss fight. And much like the first floor skip in Tower of the Gods, this boss too can also be skipped in glitchless, because glitchless is out of its mind. Except the way the glitchless does is much more difficult, because they can't obviously like clip into the ground and whatnot. They do like a bomb boost like going over the spike. Yeah, it's crazy. Glitchless is nuts. But anyways, back to all dungeons. Now we get what's known as the Cutscene Gauntlet. This is the only like really slow part of the run, as I would put it. Like the next few minutes, we're going to be watching this cutscene, and then like right after, we're going to be watching the spoiler cutscene where we get the big twist in the game.
No.
Yes, Joash doing an AD showcase for GDQ. Glitches is crazy, yeah. Yes, shoutouts to other categories as well, I suppose. Yeah, this is like the really only like slow part of the run, just with the cutscenes. Otherwise, like everything is like pretty fast paced. That's the thing about all dungeons too. I don't know if I mentioned it at the beginning, but you know we have any percent, you know, that's really short, and then we have all dungeons that's really long and has a lot of content. Then we have all dungeons, which kind of meets in the middle, where it's like it's got a decent amount of content, and it's also pretty fast paced. So that's one of the reasons why I really like all dungeons. Got kind of that middle ground, and it's a pretty consistent run too.
Doesn't seem quite right. Although if you're banking on losing, then yeah, I can see this logic making a little bit more sense. Okay, no, actually, I see where you're going. I see where you're going for now. I see now. I got you. I got you.
Stevie Hazmat. Is that some emote thing that I can't see? Is that a BTTV thing, Toad? I do need to install BTTV because they do have some cool emotes. I keep forgetting.
That's a good one too.
Alright, so here is that same map where that we watched when Tower of the Gods was rising. So you can actually see here, especially how close the Triangle Islands are. They're
Wait,
like super duper close on this map.
I don't remember that at all. What?
Like
Oh.
they're like practically next door on this map, whereas they're a little bit further away on like the on the real map.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, see, it's like right there. Alright, so this brings us down to Hyrule 2, where we go to watch another cutscene. Hooray, how exciting. But in like a marathon setting or in like a GDQ setting, this would be good for like reading donations and stuff like that, so. Good conversation and explanation things for anything that may have been missed as well.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean, Toad? What you mean?
I don't think I did. I don't know. I guess I just don't remember it. I probably did say something along those lines.
Right, so
Jokes, so.
but I'm gonna clip in through the back again to not watch that cutscene.
I vaguely remember it now, but I can't remember it like exactly what the context was. Santa's only
Here
apparently, but
and I'm gonna watch the big spoiler cutscene. Oh man. Be ready for some spoilers in the story.
Joash quotes out of context. Oh goodness, that's a
Oh,
classic.
look at that
Classic
streamer
man.
up there in the top left on his phone.
Was it really
Man.
October when I did?
No texting and streaming, okay, streamer?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, okay, but anyways,
Well, no, I did it on New Year's. Huh. I had to have been doing glitchless so far.
yeah, this cutscene is really important to watch because this is the cutscene that sets up for Earth's Temple later. By watching this cutscene, this sets up the story elements that we need to be able to get into Earth Temple and then eventually Wind Temple. Unfortunately, you can't really like choose which order to do Earth or Wind Temple in. You kind of have to do those two in order, which is kind of unfortunate. I feel like Nintendo should have like made those two dungeons to be like whichever order you want them, what you want to do them in, because like neither one of the two dungeons like really needs one dungeon to do the other.
Oh, actually, no. Yeah, you're right, Legends. Actually, that makes a whole lot more sense. Yeah, it was randomizer. Yeah, because I did glitchless on New Year's, and then I did another run like later in January.
But that's just how Nintendo put it, and it's actually something important to note later. But we'll get back into that discussion when we get closer to the two dungeons. Oh no, spoilers! Tetra is Zelda. The king is the boat.
Yeah, Super Dude.
Whoa.
The thing about it, Super Dude, is just last night I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do.
Where's Pastor thing right now?
In the beginning of the run, but last night I was just like, okay.
Oh, okay. I'm just explaining like my mentality of going through the run. Cause like when I got the PB, I was grinding super duper hard for it, and then I took like a couple of weeks off of during runs, and now I've started doing Wind Waker HD runs last couple of weeks.
And this is the result.
100% in all dungeons.
Like, I didn't even listen to music or anything. I just fully focused on this run. Like, not worrying about streaming, not worrying about boring people if I'm failing manual swim.
The king teleporting out of here. Why can't he do that as a boat?
sometimes.
Or maybe you can, you're just holding back.
That's kind of a smaller added frustration whenever I fail manual swim. Is that, I mean, not only like wanting to get better, but also like, it's probably boring for some people to watch me just fail it over and over. Yeah, exactly, Toad.
Like, Cutscene Gauntlet is over, so now we get back into the run now.
Also, I was just kind of like, I'm taking a break from this category.
Get back to doing stuff. So I mentioned that I wasn't quite done with Ganon's Tower yet, so we're actually gonna head on back there instead of like leaving Hyrule. So this category is so good that we do barrier skip not just once, but we do it twice. Oh yes. So once again, we cancel our damage here by pulling out the Wind Waker, which is frame perfect. I have to pull it like on the frame that I get hit and get my precise angle.
For me, like whenever I watch speedruns, I'm usually doing something else as well.
Item slide into a little corner there and clip through.
Depending on who I'm watching. So I'm watching, but I'm also doing some other stuff as well.
Right, and then once again we'll also do trial skip as well to get into the other rooms.
Oh my goodness, I got trial skip. Oh my goodness. I can actually do it.
And yay, I got a first try that time. Good job, Pass Joash. Good job.
Okay, so this split is actually going pretty well. At this point I'm thinking, ooh, this could gold.
Now I'm going to be getting a couple of things a little bit earlier than intended. So I'm going to go through the maze here to go get light arrows. And the nice thing about this maze is that it never changes. So you get the exact same order every time you play the game. So we can just, all you have to do is just memorize the maze pattern and you can just go through it. Just like that. Memorize the pattern and go. Normally, like in the regular game, in order to know what direction you're going, you defeat Phantom Ganon in each room, and his sword hilt like points to the door that you need to go through. And then here, like some of his attacks here are RNG. This is actually the slowest attack, but even like as the slowest attack, it's not like that slow. The fastest attack is when he like surrounds you, and then the one that's behind you is the one that's always the real one. All the other ones are fake.
Otherwise, this was a really good split. Pretty good.
Alright, so we get light arrows. Now, the interesting thing about the bow in this game is that there's 3 different like bow items. So, you know, in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and you know those 2 games, the bow, fire, ice arrow, and light arrow are all 4 like completely different items. In this game, the bow is like the bow is tiered between 3 different items. You have the regular bow, and then you have the bow with the fire and ice arrows, and then you have this bow which has all the elements on it. So even though I did not get fire and ice arrows from the fairy at Mother and Child Isle, I still have fire and ice arrows from getting light arrows. So it's essentially like a 3rd upgrade to the bow, but we get all the upgrades because of it. But wait a minute, Strimmer. Why are you going to the final boss? We haven't beat all the dungeons yet. Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh no, how silly of me. No, there's actually a reason we're going up here. Because once I go through this door, something is going to be different. Look at Link's sword and shield right now. If you look at it, we got the wooden shield, the weak Master Sword. Whoa, all of a sudden, we have the fully charged Master Sword and the mirror shield. So there are some cutscenes in this game to where if you watch them, you actually get items out of it, because like those cutscenes require because in those cutscenes you're supposed to have those items. So I guess the game just kind of gives them to you just to make sure that the cutscenes work, which is very convenient because if we go to some of these cutscenes early, then we can get these items. So we go and watch this cutscene of the fight early. So we can go ahead and get the mirror shield and the fully charged Master Sword. The mirror shield is one that's especially useful here because we'll be entering Earth's Temple with the Mirror Shield at the very beginning. So we can skip about half of Earth's Temple just by having the Mirror Shield early and not getting it from its original source in Earth's Temple. And then the fully charged Master Sword will actually allow us to skip a cutscene later in Wind Temple. But again, I'll get back into that when it becomes relevant.
And I thought it was gonna work in my PB because I did touch the island, but then I went back. But then splooshed again. I can't remember exactly what my thought process was.
Oh no, Inadorf is turning into Puppet Ganon.
Because I didn't say that Fire Mountain.
No, what are we going to do? Oh no, no.
In my previous PB.
Alright guys, I'm going to do my most powerful attack against Puppet Ganon. You ready for this? I don't even think he's ready for this. My most powerful attack is coming up right now. I hope Pastor Ash is not making the same joke. The background. Actually, that'd be kind of funny. Alright guys, you ready for this attack? Ready? 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 We save work. We're out of here. Yeah, wow, so powerful. Yeah, the only reason we go up there is to watch the cutscene to get those two items. But we will be back. Hey, welcome back, Soup. Oh, there you go. Nice. Good to hear. Now we'll take the Dark Portal out of Forsaken Fortress. That's what it's called.
Let's see if I can make up this minute and on this split. Will I be able to make it up, or will I just lose time again? Find out. I know, scared of a boss and speedrunning.
So the portal will spawn later.
Scared of him?
I think I might have said the wrong cutscene before about what spawns it. It's actually a text box that or a string of text boxes rather that the boat will tell us, which I'll mention when that comes up. I'll clip out here and then I'll be able to do a super swim off of Forsaken Fortress on that little rock.
Let's kill a little bit.
I'm gonna swim to Fire Mountain. And there I had just the right amount of speed to get into Fire Mountain as it loaded, so I can void out by getting onto the ground. If I don't end up getting inside Fire Mountain when it loads, then I just touch the island and save warp, which is a little bit slower, but it's not that much slower. And basically accomplishes like that exact same thing. Just some small optimizations. Yeah, I feel that, Soup. I mean, you could have it as like a separate option too. That would be pretty cool.
I thought it was Zunari. Actually, no, the scariest thing.
Make our way up Fire Mountain.
Salvatore.
Oh, nice. Good. Cool movement.
Also, I fumbled.
There's like so what I'm trying to do there is I'm trying to roll off of the edge and then grab the ledge instead of like just straight up climbing it, which is slightly faster, but on that ledge in particular it's a little bit finicky.
Yeah, so I kind of messed up the move.
But it's a little bit wonky if you don't get the right angle. Slide through here.
But
Get our first of many uses of the early light arrows.
Boosh Kaboom is easy, but it's RNG dependent, so you're not even guaranteed to finish it, unfortunately. So, despite messing up the movement there, I'm still very close to my goal.
Get our power bracelets. We'll need power bracelets for like a couple of things later in the run. I mean, obviously, but but we need them for getting into Earth's Temple and what else do we need?
Yeah,
Actually, I think that's it. I think that's actually it. I might be wrong. I'll probably see what else is there. So remember when I was saying before that not every item is, or not every island is able to be. I can't super swim off every island. Well, that's one of the islands. But however, I'm able to do I'm able to item slide against that wall right there. And I'll clip with just the right amount of speed to be able to get to Dragon Roost Island. And for some of the islands that you can't super swim off of, there are setups to where we can actually clip through the island and get exactly where we need to go. Very kind of precise, particular, and very specific setups to very specific locations. But but we have some convenient locations that we can go to, such as Dragon Rouge Cavern.
From what I've learned, just because of like the speed you normally have, or at least the speed I normally get for
Now I'll go and learn the song for Earth Temple.
this island.
We'll go teach you the medley. So now we're getting into the last stretch of our Earth Temple setup
Makara is like the
before we go into Earth Temple.
and of course he
Yeah, basically like the first hour is a bunch of like really interesting setup. And then like for the last 30 minutes we're just going boom boom for the last two dungeons. Back to back.
It's an ugly key. Poor Makara.
There was one point in this cutscene I think I forgot, I think I missed it, but yeah I did miss it. But there's one part of the cutscene where Link's like looking to his left, like he's looking at some bug or something. I don't know exactly. I can't remember exactly what he's looking at there, but I don't know. Just interesting fun fact.
Maybe someday. Goodness knows I'm crazy enough to consider it.
So we can barely super swim off of this island by getting over here in this little corner.
Oh, yeah,
I have to wait for the water to rise up too, so it can catch me.
a little bit antsy.
You'll have to catch me.
Beetle scared them.
Also, very important here. This is very subtle, but I passed by Tower of the Gods to load it, and that hits a trigger to spawn medley on Dragon Rouge. I think so. When you play the game normally, you know, obviously after you watch the spoiler cutscene, you leave the regular way and you end up in front of Tower of the Gods. I think that's why they put that trigger there. We need to watch that trigger in order to have medley be up here so we can go to Earth Temple. So we passed by Tower of the Gods to pick up that cutscene trigger.
Nice.
My staple: shoot the arrow into the ground and pick it up during the cutscene.
Milking content. Yeah, this is totally not a PB. I'm just milking it all. Yeah, totally.
Alright, so play the song. And then we'll go through one more cutscene.
Oh, okay.
And then this will be the... Actually, no, I take that back. There was like the one other small cutscene after this. How many small cutscenes here and there? Kind of amusing how that works. You have like these really fast-paced segments with all this item sliding and such, and then you have a cutscene, and then another fast-paced section, and then a cutscene. Kind of paces you in a way.
Yay, cutscenes.
I don't know. I almost consider that a good thing.
Oh no.
Here,
Watch, I'm gonna lose power.
I don't know if you can hear the gameplay, but there you go. There's some music for you.
But it would be rip. Alright, good luck with Class Shifter. Sounds good. Enjoy looking as well.
Alright.
Thanks for the good luck, Toad. This cutscene. Yeah, what a beautiful cutscene.
So now we're pretty much ready for Earth Temple.
Like it.
But before going straight to Earth Temple, I do want to do a little bit of setup for Wind Temple as well, so we can just go straight to Wind Temple after beating Earth Temple.
It would be nice to skip that cutscene though. This is a very it's pretty long. At least it does have nice music. Another reason why Azer does not like Medley, because you can't skip that cutscene. Oh. See, I was wondering why you were giving me good luck. Oh man, good luck past Joash. Good luck.
Wow, past Joash, talking about past Joash. What a world we live in. I just put on my headphones just to see what I was talking about, and I just hear past Joash from past Joash.
That's true.
Well,
That's very true, Toad. That's very true.
you're a funny streamer there. Alright, so, like I said, instead of going straight to Earth Temple, I'll do a little bit of Wind Temple setup here. And normally you're supposed to have the Iron Boots to get into this place, but item sliding... Who needs Iron Boots when you have item sliding? Am I right?
This, like, from the Super Swim. And then I missed this.
Why let the wind push you when you can push through the wind?
I missed it again.
And keep messing up, apparently.
The first time... Okay, so the first time I didn't know how I missed it. But watching it back now, I was aiming too far to the right.
So we'll learn the song for Wind Temple as well. While we're here. We get a very similar cutscene as the Earth Temple song. So with Fado, or Fado, however you pronounce it.
And then I was like, oh wait, I'm looking at my actual splits, not the splits on the video. Oh, I saw
All right.
reflect on the wall. Yeah,
just one more thing before Earth Temple. Just one more thing. We're almost to our next dungeon. We're almost there. Almost there. I don't remember that. Past Joash, what are you doing?
that one was kind of loud. I mean, it's really far away because like the timing between the lightning strike and that was like a long time. So
nice.
fortunately, that is very.
Okay, and I can also void out in the same way that I did with Fire Mountain with Ice Ring as well.
Oh man, no hands. Don't hide from you. Oh no.
Okay, so here
Yeah, it's like I said before.
I'm gonna use a nice slip.
I forgot about that too. I like the ice. Yeah, so
Here I can actually do an item slide jump towards the mouth, but I don't usually do it because it only saves like a couple of seconds and it's very risky because item sliding on the ice is weird. It's so wonky. You can barely charge like any speed and you'll have like a ton of speed. You'll just fly off the island. And it's like behaviors are just really weird. The ice physics in this game are kind of bizarre. But it's probably because there's also like barely any ice in the game as it is. This is like the only spot. So they probably just didn't care to fine tune it. I mean, why would you do that when it's on one island? So we go ready to get Iron Boots. We need Iron Boots for Wind Temple. So this is also another island where we can't super swim off of. So I'm going to do another. This is one of my favorite clips here. We're gonna do another island clip. I'm gonna get in a very specific position.
Gets damaged though.
And I'll charge up speed, put my control stick in a certain spot, which I look at the gamepad screen and when the cursor moves to know when
I've got nice
know when to stop moving my control stick so it's in the right position. And then if I do things just right, I'll land directly at the Earth Temple Island at Headstone.
That'd take a very long
So I'm
time.
conveniently from Icewind to the Earth Temple.
That'd take way too long. That'd be nuts.
Yeah, the reason that's so precise is because I need an angle that points me towards the island, and then also so I need the angle, and then I need the right amount of speed to clip through too, and like angle and control stick position like determine all that for this clip. All right, we're finally going to another dungeon. Finally on our way there.
I would say it's probably gonna be an hour slower, if anything, slower. It'd probably be about an hour slower, if I had to guess. Maybe an hour and a half. Actually, no, it would probably be a lot more.
Now the command melody that we got a while ago is actually going to be a little bit useful here.
Actually, no, yeah, it would probably be about 7 hours. Oh my gosh. Damageless Hondo would have to hit Orca 1,000 times to stop the minigame. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a...
I'll call Medley, I'll have her follow me, I'll item slide to the door, go through. So in the HD version specifically, if a follower is following you, when you call them, they'll follow you through the door, like no matter how far away they are, as long as they're following you. Now if they're just standing still, they won't go through the door. So there I called Medley, so she's following me. And then I get to the door real quickly before she realizes that I'm far away, and then I go through the door, and then she's like right behind me. So we use command melody to have her press that button. Take her here, and here's the first.
Oh yeah, I had an issue with
nice.
picking up Medley.
Here's the first major advantage of having Mirror Shield early, is I don't need Medley's help to stun the purple shoes. Although granted, I don't even need my Mirror Shield either. Actually, that's right. I use light arrows here. I don't know why I forgot that. I mean, in any case, we don't need Medley for Mirror Shield. So I just use light arrows to take care of the purple shoes here. And then here we can just go straight to the second part of the dungeon without having to go around, without having to go all around the rest of the room, or the rest of the dungeon rather.
Oh, excuse me.
Hi, Al. Oh, have you? Nice. I can't remember exactly how much time this saves overall, but the second half of the dungeon takes several minutes. Like you can kind of get a good reading on how long it takes if you watched a no barrier skip run.
Roost Temple so far, not too bad so far.
Oh, gotcha, Al. Yeah, that would be faster. Shooting them with arrows, with regular arrows. We have that bubble like scarily behind us. About to scare us or something. Ooh.
I can't remember what happens in the... Oh, wait, no. I think I remember what happens in these, like, next two rooms.
Alright. Most of this stuff though is pretty normal to what you would do in a speed run. So the early mirror shield advantage is complete. And here's the hammer peg that I was talking about earlier. This hammer peg is this is the one room in the game where hammer is absolutely required. This one hammer peg is why we need the hammer. Because this hammer peg brings down a light that reflects onto the mirror up there, so we can break the elephant statue over there. If we find a way to get past the elephant statue without that, then we could probably skip the hammer.
I failed the roll clip, so.
Okay, and I tried to do a roll clip there, but if I do miss it, then I do pick up the joy pendant there. But that's fine. Just redo it.
We don't get joy that time though. We get sadness.
Redo it if I mess up.
Feels bad.
There we go. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm glad. I'm really glad to hear that, Al. That's nice. I'm glad someone finally found that, or rediscovered that rather. The bottle swipe, boss key skip. Whoa, spoilers! A boss key skip. Yes, there is in fact a boss key skip for this dungeon as well, which we will see in just a bit. I think I went over. Yeah, I went over there to get magic. So the last use of medley is right here for playing this song.
Some sloppiness here and there, and then getting whacked by the Poe. I was like, oh no! I was like, oh no! Oh no!
And then we'll just leave medley. We don't need her anymore. Alright, and I did say that if you hit a sharp decline like these stairs that you would lose speed. However, if I get just a little bit of speed, then I can be like low enough to where that isn't the case. Alright, so here I get on this torch, I get myself in another specific position, and then I'll leave, climb the ledge, and do a roll clip. That one's a lot trickier than it looks because you have to be standing in a precise spot, and then when you grab the ledge, you have to also be aiming the control stick in a certain spot. And it's kind of easy to fall off there because the collision on the torch is kind of weird. Yeah, a tricky BK skip.
I was like deep in thought there.
For sure.
You have those moments when you just.
Normally light arrows don't affect bosses at all. However, with this boss, light arrows actually accomplish the same thing as shining the mirror shield on Jahala for a few seconds. Just does it instantaneously with the light arrows, which is interesting. Very interesting that they did program that in, just because you never really see Jahala with light arrows in a casual playthrough. But this is fortunate for us because it makes this fight go by pretty quickly.
Makes it a little bit easier, but sometimes it didn't quite get all of them. Okay.
One more phase. Also, the thing about these poses is that when you hit a certain number of them, then it just automatically goes to the next phase. You can't just like get as many as you can before time runs out. Although there is a time limit. If you hit the certain amount, it automatically goes to the next phase. And you saw with that last pole, he was like really far away. I hit him with a fire arrow. The only reason I didn't hit him with a light arrow is is because if I hit the last pole with a fire arrow, it actually doesn't finish the fight, and I have to do another phase, or for some reason.
What are you doing?
I think it's faster because it comes out quicker than swinging the sword.
I think Toad lost his mind. Yeah. Also, I thought I was gonna lose it when I was doing the run. I thought I was gonna lose a minute to the split. I ended up only losing like 30 seconds.
Okay. So this cutscene is kind of important. So when you beat Earth Temple, then Makar will spawn at Forest Haven, so you can go to Wind Temple. And the reason it works like that is because when you beat Earth Temple, it gives you the half charged Master Sword, which is actually what it's giving us here. It's even though I have the fully charged Master Sword, it's actually downgrading it to the half version of it. So because I have the half charged Master Sword, I'll be able to go get Makar.
Yeah, I think Toad, like, I don't know what happened. Toad got confused.
However, the next time I save warp, I'll get the fully charged Master Sword. So I can't save warp until after I'm done with Makar and Wind Temple, which is why we do Wind Temple like immediately after, so we don't have to worry about things like that.
Okay, so we got our simple through. Definitely one of the harder parts of late game. What if Josh PBs? What if? But yeah, we're through Earth Temple. Now it's time to just head on to
Alright.
Wind Temple.
So like I said before, because of all the setup that we've done before, I can just go straight to see Makara, teach him the song, and then we can just go straight to Wind Temple.
I swim here, but it was slow enough to where I knew I could like pass by Ice Ring without splooshing, so I just kind of cut straight through here.
So we'll super swim to Forest Haven. We'll go get Makara. I think I'm also gonna get some magic out of the grass here as well for later. Okay, and then just jump through the waterfall with my built up speed and go see Makar and teach him the song.
100% my fault, by the way. I did something really stupid. Spoilers. Strimmer. Spoilers. I'm sorry. I mean, it's happening in like a minute, so.
Right, and we get the cutscene of of them playing. Yay! Good performance.
What did I do? You'll see.
Okay, yeah, and I think I actually messed something up right here in my PB and lose a little bit of time. Although it was a silly mistake. So like I said, I can't save warp until I'm done with Makar. But but with that in mind, like there's no reason for me to save warp. Like if I end up like splooshing somewhere and losing all my speed out in the middle of the ocean, kind of like what I'm about to do here, yeah, like something like that, then I can just I can either manual swim to wherever the nearest island is, or I can just let myself drown and I'll be back in the boat near Forest Haven. So it's not too big of a deal if I fail anything, even though I can't save warp.
That text range is outrageous.
Something like this will happen. This is worst case scenario. This is like rarely happened, but again, like of course anything can happen in like a marathon setting. So, but this is definitely worst case scenario, and even then, like I think I only lost like a minute to this.
So instead of like trying the trick again,
So this is easily worst case scenario, and even then, it's not that bad.
which was probably the stupidest thing I did in this run. So yeah, that's easily the worst part of the run. I think.
Also, I didn't mention before because I was talking about how I failed that, but this is also an island that you can't super swim off of. However, we can kind of cheat that by using Beetle to super swim off him instead by item sliding against Forest Haven and sliding off of Beetle's ship.
Because by the time I missed it, I ended up just being able to go to Beetle.
Oh yeah, if we could skip like all the cutscenes, this game would actually be pretty short. I'm pretty sure any percent
So
would
yeah,
be like 35 minutes long or something. This
that guess
all dungeons would be
22 at this
oh
point.
goodness.
Dead.
I think all dungeons would definitely be under 2 hours if we could skip all the cutscenes.
Definitely.
I throw my car here because he walks like super slowly to the statues, so I just get him there quicker by throwing him.
This one definitely could have gotten 222.
Yeah, skipping cutscenes would be nice. I'm it's very fortunate that the only cutscene we can skip is the intro,
What you've seen
the like 4 minute long lore at the beginning,
best. But yeah.
because otherwise we'd have to spend 4 minutes watching that. Which the GameCube version actually can't skip that cutscene. So every time you do a run of the GameCube version, you have 4 minutes of just watching a cutscene at the beginning.
But yeah, that was. I lost a lot of time to that, but I'm still almost 2
Which
minutes.
that's like one of the few things that's like kind of slow about
We can still
the
get
GameCube version, but but hey, it happens. Alright, so similarly to what I did in Earth Temple, I have my car follow me, and since he's still following me there, he'll follow me right through the door when I open it, even though he was on the other side of the room. Literally everything else. Alright, so here's my last use of... Actually, no, I'm just kidding. My next to last use of Command Melody. Yeah, Command Melody is required to like fully get into the actual parts of Wind Temple and not just these like first two rooms.
Alright, my car. Go do your thing.
Use my car one last time. I don't actually need to plant those first two plants. All I need to do is just plant this last one and it'll open the door.
Oh man. See my car.
Oh no, my car, no.
Hey, thanks for opening the door to Wind Temple for us.
Alright, so now we're done with Makara. So now I can save warp safely without soft locking myself. So now when I save warp next time, I'll have the fully charged Master Sword back. And that's actually important for later on in the dungeon. To have the fully charged Master Sword. I'll do a cool little thing here to open up the door here. Although I did get caught by a P-hat here, which I think that's the only time something like that has ever happened. Where the P-hat comes down there and distracts me. But there you saw me backflip onto the door as it was folding back up. So I could get through. And now I'm gonna... Now I'll attempt to... My past self will attempt to get on the door.
A little bit. Yeah,
Oh man, will he do it? Will he do it?
Come on, past Josh, you got this.
Oh man. Okay, but anyways, I'll get on the door. I'll do a roll clip on the end of it. These doors are very easy to roll clip off of. Now I'll get out of bounds here to get behind this songstone. So I skip having to use my car there. Pull out the bomb so that Link doesn't look back at the bars. Use light arrows because they're busted.
Alright, well, so far this is not great.
If you ever wondered when you were younger and playing this game, all the things you could do if you had light arrows earlier on in the game, well, there you go.
Nothing can go wrong. Nothing can go wrong.
I'm doing extra commentary so I can like kind of explain, like the entirety of the run because the commentary in my PB doesn't explain like everything. I wanted to kind of give a commentated review of the whole run, just kind of describe everything and kind of talk about the run.
Take back your 220.
hide under blankets. Yeah, so there I saved warped. So now I have the fully charged Master Sword back.
200.
Now I'll go finish the dungeon.
Alright. 223 hours, yeah. We're gonna be here a while.
I'll attempt to get a little bit of extra magic here. Although apparently I just why did I leave that behind? Ask Joe Ash. What are you doing? I mean, I don't really need it. I have plenty of magic, but I don't know why I bothered with all that. But anyways, I'll leaf over to this door right here. Although I missed the door here, and my past self is ashamed of that mistake. But if that ends up happening, the backup for that is save warping and then just going back there. Yeah, big oof.
It still hurts.
A little bit of the end game was not very good in my PB. However, this does give me the ability to show off the backup for it. 'Cause I mean, if I do miss the door, I can just save warp and do it again.
You know what? Actually, wait, no.
Like I said, barely any of the tricks in all dungeons like really lose me several minutes to where I would like completely kill the run. So, like I said before, all dungeons is a pretty consistent run to go through.
Wait, can I? Is that a thing?
Alright, so there we go. I was able to skip that small key by doing a roll clip into the loading zone in the mini boss room. I can't do that for like every room because as you could see before, like every other room is unloaded. However, I'm able to get into the mini boss room just because it has its own loading zone.
Pretty cool. Look at this RNG. Look at that.
Right, so once again, light arrows in a mini boss room.
They knew I was struggling.
Busted.
They extended
And now we get the hook shot.
Whatever the phrase is.
The item that takes forever to get, but we wish we had it early.
In like several minutes within like the span of 20 minutes. I just don't think I'm that consistent at in game. I may not be as consistent in game as I thought I was.
Yeah, let's race tomorrow. We can race tomorrow.
We press onwards. I'm like, okay, I can still PB. Let's keep going.
So now that I have the hook shot, I can go and finish the dungeon. The hook shot is going to be very useful later. Like, extremely useful, near the very end of the run. So I do a bomb boost up there to get past the spikes without having to do the room intentionally.
I thought the P-hats were gonna get my way here, but they didn't. Consistently bad. You're not. I feel that though.
Oh, also, sorry, I got distracted. That hook shot there, if I aim at a certain spot, it actually puts me above the target, like through the wall.
I mean, I don't practice in game nearly as much as I probably could.
Nice, Morse.
That's fine. I mean,
Very nice.
Overall, I still play okay in game in most runs.
And once again, we can also skip this this statue here. Unlike in Earth Temple where we actually have to use medley. I mean, we can skip the stones in Earth Temple as well, but since we have medley with us, there's like no reason to really. And the method to skip the second one is like extremely difficult.
That actually killed the gold.
There's not really like a consistent way to do it.
I mean, what?
So we just use medley. Alright, so you might notice that Makar is suddenly here, and he's playing the music as if we've beaten the dungeon. Well, because we have the fully charged Master Sword, the game thinks that we have beaten Wind Temple, except it also thinks we haven't beaten Wind Temple. So I have this boss, but it keeps getting interrupted. The music keeps getting interrupted. Although I don't know if you can really hear the music because I have the volume down for the post commentary. But basically, the boss music keeps getting interrupted by Makara playing the the music. Now, the time save that I mentioned before, the cutscene skip rather that I mentioned before, the time save that we get from having the fully charged Master Sword here is that if you remember when we beat Earth Temple, it played the cutscene of Link and Medley playing the instruments to charge up the Master Sword. That cutscene won't play because we have the fully charged Master Sword, so we'll just get into the portal and just straight up leave without that cutscene playing. That's the biggest advantage to having fully charged Master Sword here in this dungeon. Yeah, watching the Puppet Ganon cutscene to get Mirror Shield and fully charged Master Sword is useful in both Earth Temple and Wind Temple.
Yes, I can. Unbuffered. Let's go.
Also, I think I'm just messing around here doing some unbuffered item slides. I wait over here on the edge so that Mulgara doesn't hit me either. Yeah, otherwise this is a pretty sequential fight, kind of like what Goma is.
Nope, still got the
I just have to go through the phases.
Hook shot. Shot.
And going in for the last hit.
I tried this time to center myself, put myself a little bit more centered. I don't think it almost. I'm pretty sure.
All right, and there we go. That is all the dungeons beaten. Now all that's left to do is to just beat the game.
Control on where you stand.
That's all we have left to do.
There's only one Kiba yet. Only Kiba can be Kiba. Yeah, if there were two Kibas, that'd be a very powerful force.
Alrighty. So yeah, you even see that the portal is not blue. It's the gold that you see whenever you like revisit the dungeon. Yeah, just completely skip the post dungeon cutscene. And then right here as this next minor cutscene starts, I can try to get a roll out, which is frame perfect. But there in this run, I do get it. That saves like a second. Good old optimizations.
Yeah, Kiba 13 and Kiba 14. Oh wait, does that mean there's 13 Kibas? Oh no, okay.
Alright. Now we just go back to Forsaken Fortress and go through the portal to get back to Ganon's tower.
Time for Pup again, Skip. Oh man, old man's going for the duel. Alright, decent super swim there.
And I'll use the same spot here that I super swam off of. I'll use the same spot to clip through as well. And so when you come here first on a casual playthrough, you know, when you first go through this door, the cutscene plays with the boat talking to you about what to do next. Well, since we haven't actually activated that cutscene, I can go over there and activate it to bring the boat automatically over here without having to like go inside and then come back outside to spawn him in this area. I can just automatically bring him over here by watching that cutscene. Alright, so due to a recent discovery a few months ago, we can actually achieve Puppet Ganon skip in this run. And it's actually pretty easy to do. The only problem with it is that it's RNG based. So the way it works is that we're going to hookshot on top of one of these platforms over here, and we'll do a roll clip to get out of bounds. And when we're out of bounds, I'm going to aim up here in a bit. I'm going to try to hit one of the morphs up there on the very top of the map with a fire arrow. And it's my hope, but whenever you're doing runs, you kind of have to hope that the morph actually hits the pot above there. And with the morph on fire, if it hits the pot, then it'll actually burn the wooden lid on top of the pot. And so you can just use the pot to go straight up to the top without having to fight Pup again. And so I hit the 2 morphs here that I'm able to hit. And then when I go through the portal, then hopefully it works. Which you won't be able to tell if it works until you go into the portal. Which in this case I got it first try. So I was able to just go straight up and go into the Ganondorf fight. Now in the event of a... Now for the sake of a marathon, depending on like what my pace would be on, like for a marathon, like doing that is definitely marathon safe. However, the RNG can be... It is the only thing there. If I don't end up getting it in a marathon, then I'd probably just fight Pup again and just like attempt it and then fight Pup again, and which is probably like the best case scenario to do in a marathon. Alrighty, so we go through our final our final cutscene of the game, which this is the most intense cutscene just because like if you're on a really good pace. You're having to go through like all the nerves of like potentially like about to PB for the next 4 minutes, just waiting in anticipation to see if the fight goes well. This cutscene's always intense because of that. I have to wait to see what happens.
I found a little bit of frustration with the category the last few days, and I've even said I'm probably going to take a break.
Yeah, shoutouts to everyone involved in speedrunning Wind Waker HD with finding stuff and running it. Like this definitely wouldn't have been possible without a lot of people. This run would definitely not be possible without a lot of people involved and just years of research and finding a bunch of this stuff and all the discoveries and optimizations from running it a lot. So shoutouts to everyone that's worked on this. This is definitely become, in my opinion at least, a really cool category because of it.
Except for Godin, but other than that, first half was really good. Second half was okay, but it has some mistakes here and there. But overall, the run is okay. I can definitely improve this run a little bit more, but I might be done for now.
Yeah, and we do also have a shorter version of this category called Hyrule, where the goal is actually just to get the hookshot as fast as possible. So while we do complete a few dungeons, we do skip a couple of dungeons, so it's kind of like the kind of like a lighter version of all dungeons. Yeah, Hyrule is really good too.
Well, the next week I'm going to be doing 80% with light bombs to prepare for YGA.
Yeah, that is all dungeons. Beat all the dungeons and defeat Ganondorf. I'll get to the fight here in just a second. Almost done with this cutscene.
Hey, sup, Al? Thanks for the GG, dude. Dude, this is... Seriously, this PB was so relieving.
We should, Al. Although I think some of the audio might be out of sync with the other VOD, so I might go back and like try to fix the audio on that video, and then yeah, we should definitely rewatch it. That was a really great run. I'm super proud of both of our runs in that marathon. Yeah, YGA was fun.
But I'm gonna be done for now. This category is too stressful right now. And I'm okay with the 224.
Alright, so for the fight, when you play it casually, it can kind of seem like a long fight. But if we do attack certain ways by doing some jump/quick spins, where I do a jump attack and do a spin attack immediately after, where it does a ton of extra damage, I can get several hits off as well. and advance through the phases pretty quickly.
I need a break. I need a break from the game for a couple of days.
And there I was able to do one cycle. Normally you're supposed to do that in 2 cycles, but if I hit him in a certain spot, then I actually hit multiple segments of him, so that I hit him multiple times, so that it only goes through 1 cycle. And that is the all dungeons run. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hope you guys enjoyed the run. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, that's a bot. That's a bot.
Oh yeah.
Like I said before.
Oh yeah, past show I was talking about. Yeah, I ended up taking a break for a few weeks, and then I've come back like fairly recently. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, once again, thank you guys for watching.